in his small world. He didn't begin to understand life until he spent a night shivering on the rough rocks of a mountain ridge to nowhere, praying for daylight, hoping for life. But even then, it was just grammar school, barely a step above a fool. He still didn't know where he was going until a cheap-suited Montgomery Ward salesman told him he was going nowhere, but it gave him just a direction, not a life. He didn't begin to live until he loved a girl who loved him back and discovered a paperback teenage romance novel entitled Love in a VW Bug with tattered pages that stuck together and a sad ending. Though he still didn't understand love until he thought he did and gave all he could to a woman who scoffed and told him he was no good, and found himself walking first one direction, then the other, on a lightless mountain road, on a dark winter's night, the biting cold of denial, the flush of pride, unable to decide on love or life. He doubled down on the salesman-driven direction with renewed obsession, turning all of his todays into tomorrows, and losing for 3 decades the light of love, the poetry of life, until a faithful, familiar voice on the phone brought him home to the hard harbors he had always sought, and his swagger turned to a limp, then a stagger, and despair became more than a temporary affair when he tallied up the time, the tears, the years that were taken, and regret became a daytime nightmare that whispered, that was life's last passionate kiss. But it set him free to feel some empathy for the poorly suited salesman and gratitude for the gauntlet that had been thrown his way, and led him to embrace life's hardscape holes, its uneven flows, and find its rhyme, its rhythms, its blissful repetitions. Though he still didn't see what God might be until he watched a mountain boulder come careening, crashing towards the most precious love of his life. The near miss brought ample, fruitful, meditational reflection, yet there was no resurrection until his old soul finally felt joy, twirling his youngest granddaughter on a kitchen dance floor, smiling to a Chuck Berry tune, her hair flying straight out, then again, and again, until she grew tired and he grew old.